Scaling a marketing agency to $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 a month is extremely difficult, almost impossible, if you don't know what scaling actually means. And yes, when I say that, you might think, oh duh, of course I know what scaling means, just grow the business, boom, 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 make more money. You might be on the right tracks, but a lot of agency owners, me included a few years ago, don't really understand what scaling is and how it works and what's the best approach to scale. A great example of this, a few years ago when I had just started my B2B lead generation agency. I had been running it for like 4 or 5 months. I was doing around $30,000 a month in revenue. And I wanted to scale, obviously. I wanted to get to 50, I wanted to get to 70, I wanted to get to 90, to 100, to 110. I want to scale the company. So in my mind, for me to scale from my current situation, 30,000 a month to 100,000 a month, I needed some kind of a drastic change. You know, I need to come up with a better strategy to get clients. I need to come up with a better offer or find a better niche or come up with some cool lead magnet, super complex lead generation strategy, whatever. You know, I need to be better at this. And I spent a lot of time, I wasted a lot of time figuring out those better, quote unquote, better strategies. But what I failed to understand back then, and this is something that a lot of people fail to understand now as well, which is natural, is scaling. I'll pull up the whiteboard. Scaling your agency isn't about coming up with better strategy or coming up with new and fancy and cool strategies. You know, like if you go on YouTube, there's so many fucking crazy giga meta SMS funnels that you can start, quote unquote, running. Just use this tool and you will get so many clients, or the top 5 best niches for 2025. Just go to one of these niches, you'll scale to 100,000 a month, or how crazy no-brainer offer tutorials, you know? There's a lot of these new strategies or like quote unquote new strategies out there online that distract a lot of people, and this was exactly what happened to me. People saying, just buy my course, I will teach you my strategy and you will make a lot of money. And yes, there's nothing wrong with buying courses. I have spent over $100,000 in courses and coaching, and it has been the best investment of my life. But it's still like buying into those new strategies isn't what is going to make it scale. So after scaling my own agency and working with over 500 different agencies over the past 3 years, getting a lot of people to 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a month mark, even above that, I have finally, I think, understood how to scale. Or at least there's probably like million people that are way smarter than I am about this. But at least in my eyes, this is how we can predictably scale these agencies inside Agent Velocity. And by the way, if you run a marketing agency and you want to add $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue to your agency, go check out Agent Velocity from the link in bio and work with us, and we'll help you out. But yeah, so I want to demonstrate this with a really simple Google sheet that I just like to use for forecasting and all sorts of stuff like this. So here we have blue and a red situation. You know, these are pretty much 2 variations of an agency. And let's say that the blue variation or blue agency number 1 is getting on average 30 leads a month. Then they're converting 10% of those leads in the discovery call. So they're getting, let's make this a bit bigger. Let's say they're getting 50 and they're converting 15% of those leads in the discovery calls. And they're getting 30% from discos to demos, and they're closing 20% of those demos in the deals. And they're selling a $2,000 a month service, and their churn is 15%. And they have one person working 160 hours a month, aka 40 hours a week doing fulfillment. This would mean that this would mean that their sales max capacity would be 3 clients and fulfillment capacity would be 8 clients, and they could cap out at $16,000 a month in revenue. You know, like if these numbers were true, after 12 months, their agency would be doing $5,000 a month in revenue. Pretty terrible result if you ask me. If you run an agency for 12 months and you're making $5,000 a month, not super great. So a lot of people in this scenario, they think, okay, I need a better strategy. I need to switch from doing cold email to doing LinkedIn outreach. I need to start doing ads. I need to build a lead magnet funnel. I need to create an upsell and a downsell and a cross sell and a fucking upside down sell. I need to do all these things and suddenly I will make a lot of money. But actually what you need to do if you're in a situation like this is you need to take these numbers and you need to improve them. You know? So for example, if we go here, for example, if instead of getting 50 leads a month, you got, let's keep it fairly realistic. You got 75 leads a month. You know, you improved by 50%. You got 75 leads a month, and at this low lead volume, it's pretty doable to do. Instead of converting 15% of those leads to discovery calls, you converted 20% in discovery calls. Instead of getting 30% from discos to demos, let's say you improved your lead quality a little bit and you started getting 40%. You know, again, a small marginal increase. Instead of closing 20%, you closed 30%. And instead of selling a $2,000 a month monthly revenue package or like $2,000 a month retainers, you sold $3,000 a month retainers. Again, it's not that massive of a change because like for you to sell 2K versus 3K packages, it's actually fairly simple how you do that. It's not that big of a switch to increase your prices from there. And let's say your churn went to 12.5. You drop your churn just a little bit. And then instead of it taking it 20 hours a month to fulfill a client, you made your fulfillment a bit better, bit more efficient, and you hired one team member more, so you had double the fulfillment capacity. You know? So here we can see we made small increases, or not small increases, but at this low of a volume, like these are pretty small increases, pretty easy increases to make. If you're right now charging 2K, you don't really need to do much magical stuff to start charging 3K. Or if you're closing at 20, you can with few tweaks get it to 30. Or if you're right now only getting 50 leads, you don't need to do anything magical. Let's say you're using cold email as your lead generation source. You have to just make some slight improvements, make your cold email campaigns a bit better, make your landing page a bit better, make your funnel a bit better, so and you're gonna start generating 75. And now let's see what the massive difference is. You know, look, there's it's a fucking night and day difference. In those 12 months, when the first agency would be making 5.1K a month, this agency that is just a little bit better in each sector is making 35,000 a month. You know, and let's say you were like, let's say we take this down a little bit. You know, let's say we drop these numbers just a bit. You know, like look, even if we are just making a few, or just getting a few more leads, we're just converting a bit more of those leads to demos. We're just closing a little bit better. We just have a little bit slower churn, a little bit of a higher price, and we just have one more employee. Like, look how big of a difference it is. It's fucking massive. Let's see if I can zoom in even further. This is too zoomed in. And again, this is like pretty basic back of the napkin math. I know that this is nothing mind blowing. Oh shit, like he came up with something crazy. No, scaling and business, especially with a simple business model like running an agency, it's nothing special. When you run an agency, you're really in the business of just selling other people's time for more money. You know, you're just arbitraging that. The scaling it is like super fucking simple, you know? Instead of you having to come up with these new crazy strategies and do all crazy things, you just have to get a bit more leads, convert a bit more of those into discovery calls, convert the discoveries a bit more, increase a bit more of the disco to demo ratio, close a bit higher, charge a bit more, churn a bit less, and have a bit more fulfillment power. Have one team member more. And you will like triple your agency or triple the potential that you can scale to just by doing that. You know? And this is, for example, like a lot of people always think when they hop on calls with me, when they want to join Agent Velocity, is they think that, okay, these guys have some crazy scaling strategy. And yes, of course, we have some good strats that not many people use that we have built over the years. But like 80% of the stuff that we do is just this. Just helping the people make a bit better landing pages, helping them make better sales letters, helping them make better cold email campaigns, close a bit more, churn a bit less, get a little bit better results, charge a bit more, hire one or two more people, and suddenly they go from 10 to 50, or from 20 to 70, or from 5 to 10, or whatever. You know, 5 to 10 is pretty small, but you know, like that's how we are able to predictably scale like hundreds of agencies a year doing this inside AV. And this is like one thing that I wish I had known years ago when I started this. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because this is so fucking crucial. Like instead of you focusing all your time and energy into coming up with these new crazy plans and strategies and rebuilding your agency every 3 months, Just take your numbers, track them, see how many leads am I getting a month, how many of those converting discos, how many am I closing, how much am I churning, what am I charging on average, and how can I increase these all by 10-20%? What can I do? And then you just go metric by metric. Okay, first, how can we go from 50 leads to 70 leads a month? Okay, how can I take this number and make it a bit higher? And suddenly all of the mystery and mystique and uncertainty of scaling disappears, and it becomes really simple inputs to outputs, process improvement. And yeah, it becomes way more manageable to do. It doesn't feel like this black magic that you have to practice to make more money. But yeah, that's pretty much it. A pretty short video looking at how many, the average length of videos on my channel. But yeah, I just want to talk about this. Of course, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. Book a call with me from the link description, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.